Welcome to the Facetime with God podcast. I'm your host, Kay Farrar, and yes, you have tuned in to the right place because we're bringing Christ to the culture and the culture to Christ, because the gospel's not for old times, it's for all times. So we've got relevant topics, real people, and we're starting right now. I'm one of those people, which I don't foresee myself ever being elected to office, but you know how they have to get up there and give speeches, and then they filibuster and they just talk for hours and hours? Yeah. I could do that. I could do that pretty well.
What I'll say is this. What you're saying is good, and it needs, I feel like, sometimes when you are the person behind the scenes, you don't have a space to just really share. And no, I don't think there is this saying, self-made. I don't believe anybody is just self-made.
Right.
And a lot of times it can be refreshing to be able to give voice to those people that have given into us, because the job that you are doing, the job that you want to do, it's big.
Yes, it is.
And sometimes you need to be reminded of, this is my support.
Absolutely.
This is where I come from.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm fine talk. Go ahead. Because it's a big job that you're pursuing.
Yeah.
How would you say that, how do I ask this question? What is the role that God kind of plays in the direction of what's in your heart to do? Because it's big.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I am called to this, right? This is not an idea that I feel like I just read some things or I was moved by what I see and that's it. It's a calling. It is definitely a calling, and there's an anointing that goes with the calling, and it seems like it's kind of blossoming right now, right? And this is the time for it, but my heart and my passion is really to do this for the Lord, right?
So the thing that comes to my mind, right, when you said that you feel like this is your calling, right? But this appears, correct me if I'm wrong, it appears to be different than working in government, than working strictly in ministry. And with difference, there can be uncomfortable stages of change and transition.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you speak a little bit to what that has looked like for you to get to this point to pursue this calling for yourself?
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things is, I believe, God is so systematic, right? Even when we think about King David, right? Before he was king, right? Or before he helped take out Goliath, right? What were his credentials? Well, you know, he killed, the lion. He killed the bear, right? And then he took out Goliath, right? It was preparation for what God needed him to do for his kingdom. I'm sure not too many people, cheering or what have you, and surrounding him when he was in that battle, with the lion or with the bear. But everybody was there, and they saw what he did on that grand stage, if you will, of battle with taking Goliath out. They didn't see the backstory. They didn't see the preparation. And it may not have looked like, what does that have to do with you being king?
That's right.
No, but it had everything to do with it, because he was training to be a warrior. And that's what God needed, right? And so even if we look at, for example, look at Moses, right? Moses really, to do what God had for him to do, to stand up face to face with Pharaoh, look him in his eye and say, let my people go. He couldn't have done that if he grew up as a Hebrew slave, even though he was that was his heritage.
Right.
He had to grow up in the king's court. So the garb, that Pharaoh wore, he had a robe just like Pharaoh's robe. Well, he grew up in his court. The grandeur that Pharaoh lived in and the food and whatever, he was familiar. The language, right? Because he could speak Hebrew, but he could also speak in the language of the Egyptians. Why? Because he grew up. So God had to. So it was an inside job. So he left and went back to his heritage, and then he came and presented himself and did what God called him to do. But that was all, that training, that was all preparation. So for me, I see the same thing, right? I feel like in my life, God had, I've killed my lion. I've killed my bear, right? I've come up from, being back what we called a P14 in government, which is just, a non-employee, right? An entry-level non-employee, non-FTE, to working in the governor's office and being, over those budgets. And so as my preparation to now go out and so now this is my Goliath, but I've had that preparation. And so it is a bit of a transition, but I'm prepared for it, right? And so my transition is, all right, well, now you're the one calling the shots. You're running your day, so being focused. What helps me is to the day prior, prepare for the next day. So, okay, I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Okay, these are my main priorities. These are the things that I have to get done tomorrow. I have to set up my own appointments. I have to make sure I return my calls and make sure, okay, I line up things. Okay, I have to do my planning for my programming. I might have to do my research for my guests, as far as the podcast piece. But then I also want to launch developing my curriculum for my certified grandparent, like I mentioned. I said parent, but certified grandparent, because that's going to be the curriculum that I pitch to get grant funded, because that's what the schools need, because they're finding that schools don't work without family. And if we have a family structure that's imploded, then the schools can't work. So they need people at home teaching the kids some manners. They need people at home kind of helping the kids do their homework. Otherwise, schools don't work.
Right.
And so we're not even close to that, because now we got to teach people that they prioritize feeding your children versus doing whatever you're doing. So the kids can have some nutrition. So then maybe they can pay attention. Okay, cut off some of the TV, and let's not be on on drugs, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of work to do before we even can prepare the kids. So for me, now I have to deconstruct what I want to do and how do I break it down into small parts. And so that's the transition for me to plan my day, plan my every day, so that I know, okay, I'm accomplishing my goals that I need so that we can get things launched. So just being focused and knowing, okay, I can't do everything and we're not there yet. I have to do my baby steps leading to my primary goals, which will help me, get the vision. So that's really the thing I have to focus on and work on.
One thing that I think about is, again, I'm going to go back a little bit to the leadership question. I don't know if you said you are a leader. I don't know if you know the weight of that for young women, young men that are looking up to you, that have watched you over the years. I told you, like, I've seen you for 20 years, off and on. But what I'm learning about you is like, I had no clue.
Wow.
You were just this person. You were always on a stage every time I saw you.
Oh, wow.
You always had some type of impact on people, but you were like this person in the distance. And so when I hear you say, I've slayed my lions, I've killed my bears, I'm thinking about the person you are that leader, that gauging themselves off of their watching what you do. What would you say to somebody in that situation that's looking back at you? Like, would you share a little bit about what those lions look like, what those bears look like, those moments where you felt like, maybe I'm not cut out for this.
Yeah,
like, how did you get from there to where you are now?
Yeah, and it's so funny. I talk to my team members a lot about being exceptional, right? And I have to realize that not everybody had somebody drilling them from the time they were born, right? Like, seriously, about every single thing that you do. Yeah. So my upbringing was very different from most people, and that's years. You know what I'm saying? And so you can't come after the fact and try to get people to perform at that same level when they didn't have those same inputs in their life. Right. And so sometimes I have to kind of, talk to myself like, come on now, we got to be a little bit more patient with people. We got to bring them along because they're not starting from the mindset of where you started from. You know what I mean? That was put in me. But my biggest thing, and so I can't make people. But you don't want everybody. I mean, it's like you don't want to try to go out here and make carbon copies of yourself. Now, if somebody they look up to you and they want you to be their mentor, and they want to follow you, then that says that they see something in you that they identify with, and they're willing, to be kind of taught by a drill sergeant type thing, because that's what got me to where I am, and that's kind of a little bit like I'm gonna be a drill sergeant. Like, no, excuse me, a drill sergeant. A little bit, a little bit. So it can be a little much for people sometimes. It can be. Okay. It really can be. Okay. But if you want that, I'm here for you. Right. If you want that, I'm here for you. But I also understand that people have giftings that I will never have because I don't have. What God put on the inside of them, and I don't have their upbringing. Like people that have been through, an abusive background in their families, right? So when they can see that in others, and they know how to help heal those wounds in others in a different way than me being a compassionate person. I can be compassionate, but I don't have that same experience. It's different. So for me to help encourage them to blossom and bloom in that area, because it's very needed. So really it's just helping people discover who they are and who they can be, and pushing them in that. Now, and there might be some that, can flow like I flow, and I'm going to hopefully see that and help push you in that. But, I do want to mentor people. I do want to bring people up. I do want to help bring up that next tier of leaders. Because what is one leader going to do in anything? It's way bigger than one person. But we need compassionate and caring people who know who they are and are willing, though, to be that and to show up, right? To show up. Hey, we need your gifts. We need your talent. We need your ideas. Whatever you draw, hey, we need your drawing. You know what I mean? You sing, we need your singing. But it's more than just the arts. We need, we need you to get in here and help do some of this planning, to help do some of this strategizing, to help do some of this service delivery. We need that as well, to help be hands-on with people. Okay, we need that. To do some computer programming. We need that. So we need a wide array of gifts and talents. And that's what I'm hoping to kind of help light that fire, but also be able to embrace them and bring them in, and not make them think, okay, if you don't have my gifts, there's no place for you. No, we need the people to fill, to fill all the pieces of the puzzle. We need everybody's gift and talent.
I love that. I'm just thinking, when I was growing up, I was not a quiet, shy kid. It would not be a stretch to say that people could say, she's bossy. Like she takes charge, right?
Yes.
And as I got older, I'm not that old, but I'm 43, but there wasn't a lot of good to be said about strong opinionated women, but I saw a t-shirt once. I have a daughter, 7 years old, and I saw a t-shirt that says, "My daughter isn't bossy, she has leadership skills."
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about you, and I wonder, like you said, a lot of people haven't been brought up in a way where you're raised by a drill sergeant. You are a drill sergeant.
Absolutely.
So, and when you say you have leadership skills, what would you say are your greatest skills that you possess? Not necessarily ones that you can give to other people or teach other people, but what is your strongest skill?
Yeah. I believe my strongest skill or gifting is I'm a dreamer, right? I am a administrator in the sense of like Joseph, right? So we think of administrator being, somebody that pulls the notebooks together for the meeting type thing or whatever, coordinates the event, and that can be in there. But I'm saying someone with an enterprise vision to see the bigger picture and just kind of see what's coming, and to know how to plan and prepare.
You're not just a dreamer, you're a visionary almost.
Yeah, and to me, a dream is attainable. A fantasy is something that you just want to see it and see it and see it, and you're happy with imagining the fantasy.
Yeah.
But a dream is like, it's an aspiration that I am planning to achieve. And it's way out there.
Yeah.
But I see the steps to get there. I see it being possible. And a dream will get you thrown in a pit. By non-dreamers or non-visionaries, because they can't see your dream. Why? Because it's not theirs, and we can't expect them to. And so sometimes you got to be careful who you share your dreams with. But I believe, and just like you said, and I think that was well said, being a visionary, being a dreamer, I think that is my biggest gifting and asset. In the biblical sense.
Cool.
So.
I like what you said. You're a dreamer, that you have a dream is an aspiration that you plan to achieve. I love that. That's a t-shirt. Yes, I love that. I love that. You need to coin that. A dream is aspiration. A dream is an aspiration that you plan to achieve.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that is K for Ross. Okay. So my question, obviously, strong woman sitting in front of me. How do you show up for yourself? How do you care for you?
Yeah. So we share in that deficient. We have shared, because you have conquered it. I'm working on
I'm working on it.
Yeah, I'm working
on it. It's an aspiration that I plan to achieve.
I like that. So look, just like you said, when I opened my refrigerator today, and you were like, that's a very healthy refrigerator. So I'm working on that, right? And I have to be honest, I thank God, and I won't say her full name in case she don't want to claim me, because I claim her all day. But my big sister and mentor, for years, Deborah, I did just get the opportunity to go hang out with her, right? And I just, a lot in my life, a lot of change. My dad recently passed. My mom passed 4 years ago, and then years before that, my brother passed. So it's like, I'm out here. Where's my, I got my puppies. But I just felt like, okay, I just wanted to be around a believer, a woman, has her stuff in order. She's married, she's a mother, raised her kids, runs her business, works in my similar field of arts and ministry and that kind of thing. But one of the nuggets, so I knew I was going to get some nuggets just from hanging out with her. We worked on some music and what have you. But one of the things I was like, okay, I'm going to do that when I come back home, was I realized that if you're coming over, you know what I'm saying? If I have people come over, I might cook a nice meal. I might. But it's been months since I prepared anything for myself, other than like some eggs, right? Eggs and bacon, or some eggs and turkey sausage or whatever. I would cook that. But honestly, if it's some cookies, I'll eat the cookies. Some chips, I'll just grab it. Some covered raisins or whatever. I try to make it some covered cranberries out. I eat a few, just grab some nuts. I'll pour those out and I'll just eat those.
Yeah.
But making a meal for myself. But what I noticed was that we would be working on music, and I would get over there in the morning and we, would record or whatever, we write, and we go back and forth on a few things. But then come around, 12 or 1 o'clock, child, she would go in the kitchen, pull out her pans, get some sand, and it wasn't just, we didn't eat any processed, get some, some ham sliced and put it on some, some white bread or whatever.
Yeah.
Child, she pulled out some lamb that she was marinating from the day before, went out on the grill, had the sauce, you know what I'm saying, chopped up a salad, you know what I'm saying, some spinach and some tomatoes, And to me, that is self-care, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes as women, and in particular women of color, self-care to us is going to get a massage, or going to get our nails done or our toes done. Excuse me? What about your nutrition?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
What about your sleep? What about your time with God? Because that's really where FaceTime with God comes from. Seeking His face. Because we can do nothing, we can know nothing, we can be nothing of who He created us to be without Him. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get our spirit right, in His presence. But then we have to, all this little stuff, you got your little checklist. Where is fixing yourself at least one nutritious meal a day? Where is that on your list? If you don't have that, we're valuing others and other things more than yourself. And so that's the takeaway that I just recently got from my little trip, hanging out with my mentor. And I'm like, yeah. So I came home and I made myself, I sent her a note, and I sent her a picture of my chili. Deborah, like, why is this child? Do I need to see your chili? But I was like, this is the first time I cooked myself a meal in months. Then that's a shame.
Yeah.
Other than some eggs and bacon or some eggs and sausage.
Yeah.
No, I know you got a list. I know I got to take the car. I got to get inspected. I got to do. I have to. I have to pray. I have to seek God's face. I have to get my walk in. You know what I mean? And I have to eat my nutritious meal, at least one a day. Now the rest, 1 meal a day is actually a good thing, and intermittent fasting and all that good stuff. But that one meal should not just be a handful of peanuts. No.
Okay. Okay, I love that. Okay, so Farrar, I have polled the people.
Okay.
And I have one question. Again, will be from a younger woman that looks up to you.
Okay.
And they're just looking at the fact that, obviously you're a successful black woman, beautiful black woman, accomplished, and you're single. And they were asking, well, I'm single. Like, how do you do this? And maintain your purity of who you are as a woman, as a daughter of God. How do you do that?
Yeah. Good question. I love the question. First thing I would say, when I was probably super young, my grandmother said something to me about not having sex outside of marriage. And I love, this is my grandmother in Norfolk, so I love that. So that concept of purity was something, you know how you have certain people, even if something that they say you don't really understand,
Right.
what the world they talking about.
Right.
But you just love that person.
Right.
Somebody you look up to, just like what you said. Mm-hmm. And so that instilled in me that sort of appreciation and love for, keeping myself, right? And allowing the Lord to keep me more than anything else.
Yeah.
Really tell the truth and shame the devil. But, and so then, of course, as I committed my life to Christ, that was something that I adopted. And I, taught that to the people in my group, whether it was the step team, whether it was, my singing group or what have you. But it's just the Lord. And it's kind of funny. I heard one of the guys yesterday was asking me, so how come you never got married? And I'm thinking to myself, because I want nobody for me to marry. Because if it was, I would be married. Like, why are you asking me?
Yeah.
Like it was up to me.
Yeah.
But then, I was actually thinking about that this morning.
Yeah.
It actually is up to me.
Yeah,
everything in your life is up to you, right?
Yeah.
But my statement is, I just there was never anyone for me to marry. Like there was, there were people I could have married, but in other words, I haven't met my mate. If I did, I would be married, right?
Okay.
And I'm still praying and expecting God to show up.
Okay.
Show up on time, right? And you running out of time, Lord.
Yeah.
But so I still, do believe that I will be married.
Okay.
But what I believe is that lack of confidence, I think, to step out and do really what God has called me to do. I was telling somebody, I've just been sitting around for years and years and years in church waiting for somebody to get up on the platform and say, you in the flowered top, the yellow, stand up. God says, go. Right?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Waiting for somebody to confirm me. Waiting for somebody to say, you should do this and that. When God has been saying it in my spirit ever since I was in my 20s, right?
Wow.
So I believe that kind of not being in my purpose and in my calling is the reason why I have not met that mate, right? Because if he's in his purpose and calling and I'm supposed to meet him, I'm not going to meet him over there, not in my calling. He's going to be in the path that I'm supposed to be in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I feel that now the time is, I'm doing what I'm doing what God has called me to do, and I believe that's going to happen. Yeah. And even going back to your what you said about the nuclear family and the whatever. I want a family with a lot of kids, so we can have big cookouts and have a lot of fun and birthday parties and we can go to the beach and whatever. So I guess he's going to have to bring it, right?
Oh, wow.
He's going to have to bring the kids, right? So I don't know how, what God has in store, but my heart is to have a family.
I love
so I believe I'm going to meet that Boaz, that man of God, so...
Oh my gosh, I love this so much because not that I'm single and waiting, but I love that because the picture of who you are, to be able to be honest and transparent that I've accomplished things. I didn't put my life on hold, but this is still a desire of mine, and I'm making space for it. While doing what it is that I believe I'm called to do. I love that because I feel like, especially for women, sometimes, and not to exclude the men, but I am a woman, so I can speak from a woman's perspective.
Right.
That, at some point, you have to slow down. You're doing too much. If you would have been sitting over there waiting, looking at recipes, then you would have found your man. But it's like, no, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to do the things that I believe God is calling me to do. And that's when that will happen.
Absolutely.
I love that for you. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Okay. And please don't forget the invitation.
Oh, okay. Look, you will get an invitation. Trust and believe. You will get one.
So my last question, I spoke with one of your family members, a young family member, and he said, can you ask her what she would want to say to me?
Wow.
So, this is a young man that he said, oh, yeah, I'm my Aunt Kim, he said, ask her what she want to say to me. So I said, okay, I'm going to ask her.
Absolutely.
So you know exactly who I'm speaking about.
I do.
If you could give him some advice, obviously you all already have a relationship.
Yeah.
What would you want to say to him?
What I would say to EJ is, you are on the ball. He is so bright. He's a bright light, right? He has a beautiful spirit, but he's cool, right? He is cool. He is fly. He's got it going on. He's a senior. He's about to graduate. He's got some plans and some things that he's working on. I would just encourage him to focus on God. You know, keep God first. Put Him first, right? And maintain that throughout your day in your decisions, what you decide to do, what you decide not to do, where you go, where you decide you're not going to go. Be your own man in Christ, and He's going to cause everything else to work out, right? Seek first the kingdom, and everything that you have need of is going to be added to you. Just be yourself and do what you do, and He's going to be wonderful. He's going to accomplish some amazing things. So I'm excited about EJ, and I'm so honored that he would ask that.
So I'm turning it back over to you, K. Farrar, in your style. What are your last words?
My last words are just 2 words. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Teresh. Really, seriously. The way you just got so excited yesterday. So for those who don't know, Teresh came on. I mean, of course, you'll see her interview. She came on to do an interview, and then just kind of got me hyped and just got excited. And we said, "What?" She said, "Has anybody ever? Yeah, I would like to interview you." And then you arrange your schedule. Yes, you know, you're a business owner. You know, you're a mother. You're a wife. And you arranged your schedule to be here yesterday, but then you just made it a point. You made it your business to change things. You came here. You went home and got your water. You came in the studio. You know what I'm saying? You made it your business to do this, to be a blessing, to help me in my vision. That's just awesome, and it's amazing, and it's beautiful, and it blessed my heart. So that's all behind my thank you, Teresh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
To you, the Wilson family, your husband Haven, for encouraging you and allowing you to make space for you to come and do this. So seriously, I really, 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 really appreciate it. So
no problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This is awesome. Awesome.
Colossians 3:23 and 24. And whatever you do, do it with all your heart as unto the Lord and not unto men, knowing that it's of the Lord that you shall receive the reward of the inheritance, because you serve the Lord Christ.